The reading that I am going to do is from one of my favorite books. It's Big Magic by Liz Gilbert. If you haven't read it already, I highly recommend it. I think it's wonderful. It's a book about creativity as much as it's a book about fear, actually. She talks a lot about the relationship between the two, and the section of the book that I'm going to read to you is something that I've shared with a lot of people. I usually butcher the story though, so it's nice to be able to read it to you using Liz's words, because she's obviously a very gifted writer. So the section of the book, it was a chapter called Courage, and the section within that is called The Road Trip. And here's how it begins. Here's how I've learned to deal with my fear. I made a decision a long time ago that if I want creativity in my life, and I do, then I'll have to make space for fear too. Plenty of space. I decided that I would need to build an expansive enough interior life that my fear and my creativity could peacefully coexist, since it appeared that they would always be together. In fact, it seems to me that my fear and my creativity are basically conjoined twins, as evidenced by the fact that creativity cannot take a single step forward without fear marching right alongside it. Fear and creativity shared a womb. They were born at the same time, and they still share some vital organs. This is why we have to be careful of how we handle our fear, because I've noticed that when people try to kill off their fear, they often end up inadvertently murdering their creativity in the process. So I don't try to kill off my fear. I don't go to war against it. Instead, I make all that space for it. Heaps of space every single day. I'm making space for fear right this moment. I allow my fear to live and breathe and stretch out its legs comfortably. It seems to me that the less I fight my fear, the less it fights back. If I can relax, fear relaxes too. In fact, I cordially invite fear to come along with me everywhere I go. I even have a welcoming speech prepared for fear, which I deliver right before embarking upon any new project or big adventure. It goes something like this. Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting. And may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home, but understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, and so I will never exclude you from our activities, but still, your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat and you're allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the road maps. You're not allowed to suggest detours. You're not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you're not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. Then we head off together, me and creativity and fear, side by side forever, advancing once more into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome. I absolutely love that piece of writing. I just think it's so absolutely wonderful. And so I'll share the words with you as well, because I just think it's just a wonderful approach to fear, and it's something that I adopted many years ago, or the realization that I had that if I fight my fear, it fights back harder. And so, and it's this idea of, I remember when I discovered that fearlessness was a myth, that really it's futile to try and get to this state of fearlessness, and actually embracing our fear and acknowledging it and knowing that it's part of the wonderful, glorious journey of life is so much, it's just such a more fulfilling and comfortable way to live, I think. So I really love this reading. It's had a huge impact on my life. I share it with every single one of my coaching clients and beyond. So hopefully that helps.